Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us today on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. The last one for this week. Femi Ojo is my name. It gives me great pleasure to know that you are here with us. The Morning Spring is where we look into serious issues that has to do with the public good, in as much it is worth talking about. To get to hear it from us here. Firstly, and we say it as it is. It holds 7 a.m. every weekday, and we look into the front pages of different dailies every day, looking at the headlines for you to be well informed about what is happening around you, actually, which is very important. As they say, knowledge is power, and sometimes knowledge can be money, knowledge can be safety. So you need all of those, and we give it to you on a platter. At the other side of that, we then get to talk about these issues, various issues at the local level, at the subnational level, and of course, at the national level, sometimes beyond the shores of this nation, like what is happening right now in the Middle East, in Iran, to Iran, or between rather, Iran, the Israel, the state of Israel, and of course, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the United States, as well as other countries trying to pick a side, and some are saying stop this, some are saying we are in it, and there have been attacks on both sides, both in Iran, excuse me, and it starts with the killing of some high-ranking persons in Iran, including Ayatollah Khamenei, that's the supreme leader of Iran, who was, targeted by missiles. And some have been saying that, he was killed by, the attack from Israel. Actually, it's not the U.S. And Donald Trump is trying to take, glory for everything. To say the world is now safer with the elimination of the Khamenei, because not just Ayatollah Khamenei, but then members of his family, high-ranking officials of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and there have been retaliatory threats, even from Iran, saying it will be all the way in a scale that has never been seen before. And these are the issues, just like we took a part of it yesterday, a part which concerns Nigeria. Where do we come in all of this as far as the Federal Republic of Nigeria is concerned? Some have been, protesting, really. One wonder to what end is this protest, especially the members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, the IMN, called the Shiites, actually meeting in different parts of the country, protesting, albeit peacefully, to say what has happened to the Iranian leader is not to be, and of course, the US should not be doing or be involved in those interventions. What they are owning all of this, and we are asking, what is our own? When I mean our, in all of this as well. Look at the economic angle to this. The price of oil is skyrocketing. Actually, almost at the $100 mark. I wouldn't know if it's more than that now, as far as yesterday is concerned. That issue. So what do we do? And we are hearing that Dangote uh, industries talking about the refineries and petrochemical limited have said they will make sure there is no destruction in supply of petrol products, and they will do that for the Nigerian people. We hope that will be the situation. But how about the price? Because Dangote earlier in the week increased their own gantry price, actually. And one would say, because it's a global commodity, whatever affects food in the international market definitely has a way of affecting Nigeria as far as food is concerned here. So all of these, how about people in some of these places? Nigerians in Iran, Nigerians in the UAE, Nigerians in the US. We spoke about NIGHTCOM yesterday, where NIGHTCOM said, that's the Nigerian Diaspora Commission, said, they are very well aware, and they are set, and they have not really received any distress call from Iran, because if push come to shove, they will be ready. We hope in principle, and of course in action, they will be ready, because one can say for real where this is heading and when it will stop, okay, because it's just what it is. So many things. On the program this morning, we look at governance, a bit of politics, and all of those things. And the President of the United States still on the U.S., Israel, Iran matter cares, actually say the kind of leader that will be chosen, the next supreme leader in Iran, he, as Donald Trump, wants to be involved. And one will wonder, in what capacity do you want to be involved? As who? And some are saying maybe the son of the late Khamenei might be chosen as the next supreme leader. And Donald Trump is saying no, any of the Khamenei will not be chosen, must not be chosen, would not be suitable, to be the supreme leader. He, as the president of the United States, as Mr. Donald Trump, wants to be involved on who emerges as the next supreme leader of Iran, because he can afford to have what happened, according to him, under the late Ayatollah Khamenei. It's quite amusing, isn't it? But then we look into that because of the program today. But right now, the newspaper segment is next on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. We are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television NG, Western Spring Television NG, and of course on Facebook, Instagram, on X at Western Spring Television. Right, let's kickstart the newspaper segment this morning from the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. And this is a big, bold headline, quite sad by the way. And there you go. Gunmen wreak havoc in Ondo, Oyo, and Kebbi. Gunmen wreak havoc in Ondo, Oyo, and KB with riders disguised as vigilante men to kidnap 4 on Kishi Betty Road. Disguised as vigilante men to kidnap 4 on Kishi Betty Road, abduct wife, shoot husband in Ondo, killed 2 police officers in Kebbi after attack on border post. We have rescued Igbeti kidnap victims, or your government source, sad ones, whatever has happened. These kidnap cases, it's not the way it should be, really. The one in Ondo, the kidnappers abducted the wife and shoot the husband. I saw a picture, an image of the husband in a very bad state, on the hospital bed due to the attack. So you see attack in Ondo, attack in Oyo, and in Kebbi. Although the government source are saying the Betty kidnap victims are being rescued. So when shall we truly be safe in Nigeria? That's the big question. All right, so moving on. Google introduces Yoruba Hausa support for AI search in Nigeria. Google introduces Yoruba Hausa support for AI search in Nigeria. So, as far as Google's AI search is concerned, you can search for whatever you're looking for in Yoruba and in Hausa now. Quite interesting, actually. I hope there's the voice prompt as well, as far as this AI Google search is concerned, so that for people that can just hold their device and just speak into what they want as far as the AI search is concerned in these languages, Yoruba and Hausa, and of course it will prompt them to exactly what they want. So for technology actually. All right, and SANU issues fresh threat over delay in renegotiation and February salaries. SANU issues a fresh threat over delay in renegotiation and February salaries. Moving on, Senator Dixon dumps PDP, joins NDC. Interesting. Senator Dixon dumps PDP. Remember Senator Dixon, senator from Bayelsa State, two-time governor of the same Bayelsa State. We are being told he has dumped the People's Democratic Party and has joined a party called the NDC. All right. On the health scene, scientists develop a universal nasal spray vaccine against COVID-19, flu, and pneumonia. Scientists develop a universal nasal spray vaccine against COVID-19, flu, and pneumonia. All right, spray vaccine. Okay, whatever will help. And just beside that, Tinubu resolves OPL 245 dispute with EN9 15 years after, unlocks 150,000 barrels per day of crude. Tinubu resolves OPL 245 dispute with EN9 15 years after, unlocks 150,000 barrels per day of crude. That sounds like a good news. Moving on, our substantive drug case against Abba Kyari still on course. NDLEA has called accused him of non-declaration of asset case. So I think there should be their clarification there, because many news outlets reported that the embattled, former officer, actually talking about they used to be called a super cop, Abba-Kyari, who was involved in a drug case, for some time now, has been accused that he and his brother, or his colleagues rather, that is on the suit that has to do with non-declaration of assets, not the substantive case he's having with the EFCC, and that's why maybe the NDLA rather, pardon me, not the EFCC, saying our substantive drug case against Abba Kyari still on course. These are different issues, all right, because many tongues have been wagging since yesterday to say how will that be. All right, many things are being said. It's more like a disgraced cop. The man Abba Kyari, while he was in service, I told you he was called a super cop. He was even given an award by the National Assembly for what he was known for, that is foiling kidnap attempts, retrieving kidnap victims actually, and apprehending kidnap kingpins in the past. But then you know what they say about other mighties are falling in this regard. Then whatever happened to him, where it was recorded, having a conversation or cutting a deal as far as a drug case is concerned. And so here we are since all this time, and some have even been calling that he be pardoned, but some are saying if he as well has been involved in prosecution of others before, why should he be different at this time? All right, that's far as Abba Kyari is concerned. All right, moving on. And here you have a picture right there on the screen that has to do with the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Kodoso, and the Executive Secretary, Solid Mirrors Development Fund, Hajia, Fatima Shinkafi, after the CBN recently took delivery of responsibly sourced gold refined to London Bullion Market Association. All right, away from that top stream, ladies and gentlemen, Tinubu governance other eminent Nigerians to grace Obafemi Awolowo Foundation 2026 Memorial Lecture today. And PIA, Nigeria upstream producers are failed to supply crude to refinery Dangote. Nigeria upstream producers are failed to supply crude to refinery Dangote, and Senate summons Kyari, ex-NNPCL officials over 210 trillion naira alleged discrepancies. I say that again. Senate summons Kyari, ex-NNPCL officials over 210 trillion naira alleged discrepancies. All right, that's a lot of money if you ask me. 210 trillion naira. It's quite mind-boggling. Actually, there are some things one's brain might not be able to just pick up. All right, moving on. That will be all from the Punch, by the way, and then we move to the Punch. At this time, that was about the Tribune, and now we move to the Punch newspaper. US-Iran war. Marketers Dangote trade words over petrol price. US-Iran war. Marketers Dangote trade words over petrol price. And here, imported petrol cheaper than Dangote's by 64 naira per litre. Imported petrol cheaper than Dangote's by 64 naira per litre. That is coming from marketers. And the Far Middle East war to import petrol, Dangote challenges marketers. The Far Middle East war to import petrol, Dangote challenges marketers. It is what it is. And just below that, you have the picture of Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu with the Nigerian IG Exploration, MD Fabrizio Belondi, and other officials, in a meeting yesterday. And the Osun government campaigns begin, Osun governorship rather, campaigns begin March 11 as INEC finalizes candidates. Osun governorship campaigns begin March 11 as INEC finalizes candidates, and DIG Mba others retire. 7 AIGs for promotion. All right, I think that's about it for Frank Mba as far as his service in the Nigerian police, active service in the Nigerian police is concerned. All right, we had a talk about it yesterday. DIG Frank Mba others retire. 7 AIGs now for promotion. All right, and the top strip here, you have these. Senate summons ex-NNPC boss Kyari over 210 trillion naira audit queries, and pension funds hit 28 trillion naira as contributors exceed 11 million. Pension funds hit 28 trillion naira as contributors exceed 11 million rather. And Borno, hundreds still missing after Boko Haram attack. Hundreds still missing after a Boko Haram attack. That's a sad one. Moving on to the Daily Sun. The Daily Sun for today. ADC APC fight over Tinubu's scorecard. ADC APC fight over Tinubu's scorecard. And there is a rider that says, is government incompetent, says coalition party, and president has done well, ruling party. Is government incompetent, says coalition party, president has done well, ruling party. And of course, a picture under that has the chairman, Senate Committee on Southeast Development Commission, SEDC, Senator Orji Uzokalu, in the middle, flanked by the Executive Director, Engineering and Technical Services, Nigerian Ports Authority, Ibrahim Umar, and of course, MD MPA Abubakar Danso, and Executive Director, again, Finance of the Nigerian Port Authority, Vivian Ede, in that picture during a meeting with the Senate Committee on Marine and Blue Economy in Abuja on Monday. All right, so many persons here. All right, moving on. NDLEA insists substantive drug case against Abba Kyari on cause as court dismisses ex-IRT boss brothers non-declaration of asset trial is still in our custody. Nigeria Correctional Service. And terrorist attack soldiers kill imam, kidnap scores in Borno. Terrorist attack soldiers kill imam, kidnap schools in Borno, and motorists to pay airport tolls with cash. Card. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria says Tinubu didn't scrap cashless policy. Motorists to pay airport tolls with cash and card. I mean, it's not only by card. You can pay with cash because that particular policy, threw the entire system, talking about air traveling, into chaos, in the some days ago. All right. And here, Senate summons Melekari, Ajia, others over unaccounted 210 trillion naira, queries 5 billion naira spending on transition from NNPC to NNPCL. Queries 5 billion naira spending on transition from NNPC to NNPCL. So much for transition there, by the way. And reps approve a 140 billion naira SEDC's 2026 budget proposal. We will make a region investment hub in 10 years. MD, that's talking about the Southeast Development Commission. All right, and Anambra regains oil wells from Delta. Expect increased derivation revenue. Anambra regains oil wells from Delta. Expect increased derivation revenue. All right, away from the Daily Sun, let's see what the Nation has for us. The Nation newspaper for today, and it has this resolution of OPL 245 reached to swell oil output by 150,000 barrels per day. Resolution of OPL 245 reached to swell oil output by 150,000 barrels per day. Dangote refinery absorbing 20% of crude oil escalation. Dangote refinery absorbing 20% of crude oil escalation. And the firm explains PMA's pricing amid soaring global crude oil price. Firm explains PMA's pricing amid soaring global crude oil price. All right, and a picture just beside that as that of President Tinubu and Descalzi yesterday. And there is a statement attributed to that has to do with the resolution of the OPL 245. The resolution sends a clear signal to global investors that Nigeria is prepared to address legacy issues transparently and uphold the rule of law. This resolution sends a clear signal to global investors that Nigeria is prepared to address legacy issues transparently and uphold the rule of law. Just below that, screening for 50,000 police constable recruitment begins on Monday. All right, screening for 50,000 police constable recruitment begins Monday. That is on page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And it's some will want to say maybe it's a big one, this resolution of the OPL 245, and what is a need, what it would bring to revenue generation, revenue addition, because we are hearing the promise of an additional 150,000 barrels per day. Well, that would count for something huge, actually, if it's that way, because Rider attributed to that big bold headline says Tinubu facilitates end of crisis. All right, moving on. 100 senior lawyers on corruption trial, says EFCC chair. 100 senior lawyers on corruption trial, says EFCC chair. With Rider, LPDC sanctions 17 legal practitioners. LPDC sanctions 17 legal practitioners. Now, these particular headlines that says 100 senior lawyers on corruption trial, in a manner of speaking, is what many Nigerians have said the EFCC or ICPC, but most of the times the EFCC should desist from this kind of blanket statement that doesn't have substance. And when I mean substance, if you are ready, you are ready. you don't really have to specify the numbers because from time immemorial, from I think from this current NSA era, Nuhu Ribadu from his days as the EFCC boss to Ibrahim Lamode to Madam Waziri to Ibrahim Mago to Abdurrashid Bawa and now to the man that is there right now, Olukoyede. It has always been that big verbose statement of this is what we are doing. Oh, we're investigating these people. Oh, this also cadre of persons. But at the end of the day, you get to see a little, next to nothing. There was a time in which the FCC under, I think it was under Nuhu Ribadu said, oh, these are the governors on that probe. At the end of the day, you could hardly see one or two or three, you know, going all the way, you know, as far as prosecution and justice is concerned in Nigeria. So whenever the SEC comes out with this kind of 100 senior lawyers, headline rather, 100 senior lawyers and corruption trial, one will wonder to what end? You should be doing more of doings, as they say in the social media space, action beyond the statement. So what happens? Who are they, if actually you even mention them? At what percentage of prosecution are you on the matter right now? In the next 1 year, 2 years, would we have anything substantial on this matter? These are the issues. Just do your work. And whenever you come out, because one would say maybe that's the best global practices. Now, the moment you will come out to say we are prosecuting or we are arresting these particular persons or we are inviting them, that means you are ready with your hard evidence, you know, casted in stones. That's the way it should be. Well, all right, moving on. Senator Dixon dumps PDP for new party NDC. All right, and Kano Assembly serves Deputy Governor notice of impeachment. All right, and how Appeal Court had 357 cases, 272 motions in 1 week. Ondo government vows to defend ownership of Eba oil well. Okay, you know, it's looking more like Eba. Okay, and Eba is a food in Yoruba land. Oh, in Nigeria rather. All right, moving on from the Nation newspaper, The Guardian is next. The Guardian newspaper here, and there's a big story headline. You know, how do you say that? And you have the big story on pages 4 and 5. Big bold headline here: old age distress. Old age distress. How weak safety nets make senior citizens street beggars, destitute. These are very deep issues. How weak safety nets make senior citizens street beggars and destitute. All right, you have the picture, you know, depicting the stories. I mean, the situation of the senior citizens who sometimes, most of us see them on the road, actually soliciting for alms in very terrible conditions. Some of them could nearly work, some are bent over. Okay, and these headline is talking about a system that has a provision as far as safety net is concerned to take care of our senior citizens. All right, one might want to say, how about their families? Of course, that's the first point of call, but then maybe the system could do something, you know, to accommodate them and take care of them in their old age, in these old age as well. Moving on, drug case against Abba Kyari on course, and the LEA clarifies, and Stella Udwa 6 plea bargain deal over 2.5 billion naira forward. Stella Udwa 6 plea bargain deal over 2.5 billion naira forward. Interesting. And 2027, IPAC threatens boycott as Afenifere backs Southern presidency. 2027, IPAC threatens boycott as Afenifere backs Southern presidency. And here, bottom strip, credit to government spikes by 37% as private sector lending stalls. Credit to government spikes by 37% as private sector lending stall. And ABGA, APC, others spent 19.6 billion naira in 2025 Anambra Guba poll. ABGA APC. Others spent 19.6 billion naira in 2025 Anambra Guba poll. That is on East page 29. So what happens to having a capped budget as far as election spendings are concerned in Nigeria? Well, you might find more detail on news page 29 of the Guardian newspaper. Just above that, federal government begins a nationwide crackdown on irregular migrants. Federal government FG begins nationwide crackdown on irregular migrants, and Senate summons NNPCL former bosses over unaccounted 210 trillion naira. All right. And Dangote refinery assures local supply amid global crisis disruption. Dangote refinery assures local supply amid global crisis disruption. And Discos ration 2,830 megawatts as gas shortages cut power supply. Discos ration 2,830 megawatts as gas shortages cut power supply. 2,830 megawatts as gas shortages cut power supply for a country of like 236 million people, rationing, less than 2.9 megawatts. Oh Lord, have mercy. This is a shame, actually, to say the least. All right, that'll be all from the Guardian newspaper, and of course the newspaper headline segment for today. And by the way, 2 days ago, I think there was a news, from the sports scene talking about the verdict that is being expected from the Federation of International Football Association, talking about FIFA, actually, that has to do with their verdict on, the petition written by the NFF, Nigeria Football Federation, against the Congolese FA about some of their players. The NFF are saying the Congolese team fielded some ineligible players when they played against us, actually, in the quest for the qualification for the FIFA World Cup that's supposed to hold later this year. And so Nigeria is saying they are fielded. That's cheating. And so FIFA should disqualify them. So news trickled in 2 days ago to say maybe FIFA has really thrown his weight behind Congo to go ahead with the last leg of the playoffs, actually. And but one way I want to be careful, because what was seen was the match schedule, an itinerary, actually, not really a verdict, official verdict from FIFA. But it was widely reported that maybe the nod has been given to Congo because the match schedule accommodated Congo and not Nigeria. So I think that inference was drawn by many news outlets to say, oh, Congo has been given the wherewithal. But one would say, well, let's wait till the official pronouncement is made by FIFA. Either Nigeria, we have a third chance, because this is not a second chance. We had a regular chance when we battled it, we couldn't qualify. Then the second chance that came while a particular nation withdrew from the competition. So there was a kind of sorting that gave Nigeria another chance to qualify, and that was when we faced Congo, and we battled it as well. So Nigeria is looking for the third chance. In fact, some are calling it the back there, to say it would be very unfair, to now be given the nod to go ahead with another chance in the last leg of the playoff, because you had your best chance, you bottled it. You had the second chance, you bottled it. Now you want to use the back there. But some will say, if not, why not? If it is true or legal means, why don't we, take that route again? But some are saying, that is not how to qualify. That's not noble, really. Well, some of the proponents will say, what's not noble is for Congo or for any country to use players that are ineligible, that were not properly cleared to play for their countries. I mean, for this particular country, talking about Congo DR. And one of them is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, former Man United player who currently plays for Congo. So we wait for the official verdict, even when many have, said Nigeria, please don't give us any reason to raise our hope. We have made our peace with this. Let's wait for 2030 or whatever the next World Cup and make our peace with this. But then, fingers, as they say, are crossed. We take a break right now. When we return, we speak to issues. This morning, Spring on Western Spring Television. Stay with us.